Hello, salam, shalom, namaste, sat sri akal, aloha, hola, ciao, bonjour, buna, and privyet. It's really, really good to be with you again, and I know you will be really happy that you have joined us again because we have a very special guest, and it's Barbara Benga, who is a money mindset and business coach. And I'm so excited that you are joining us today, Barbara. Welcome.
Hi, Samia. Thank you so much for having me here. Super excited to be here. Good
Awesome.
evening from Barcelona.
Ooh, nice. Oh, man. Okay, so before we jump into the topic that we want to talk about, which is all going to be related to the relationship between happiness and money, can you tell us more about who you are and what you do?
All right. So I am like you said, money mindset and business coach for female entrepreneurs. I was born in Estonia and I've lived in quite a few countries. And so it has taken me a while to sort of get on the entrepreneurial path, really, because I had a very bad relationship with money. So when the pandemic hit in 2020, I realized that this is where people may need me because I was working on my own money story. Apart from that, what else I do is I love perfume, I love coffee and working out. So when I have time.
Nice. That is so cool. Oh man. Okay. Um, so the main topic that we want to focus on today is exploring the relationship between happiness and money. And that's actually one of the most, I would say, like, important topics, I think, that
Mm.
it's like so important for us to talk about and understand and think more deeply about. And so I'm like super happy that I'm able to do that with you right now and today. So tell me more. What's your perspective on the relationship between happiness and money?
That's a very good question. So I remember us discussing this and I asked you if you think that money can make you happy. And so we had quite a nice chat there. But what I do think that money in itself, and I think most people agree, and you agree that money in itself doesn't make you happy. The pursuit of money doesn't make you happy, but it can surely make your life easier. But what really matters is your relationship with money.
Uh,
Um, because we can be happy with money or without money, and it's really all in your mind in the end, right?
yes, I so agree with you on that because truly, when you look at the essence of happiness, the experience of happiness, it is an experience and it is in essence a state of mind and a state of heart. Um, so it's an internal thing. Whereas money is like a concept, it's something outside of us, it's a tool that we utilize to help us get things that we want and desire. But you just said something very important, I think, that what our happiness really relates to or depends on in the context of money is our relationship with money. Can you tell me more about that? Like, what relationship do we have with money or can we have with money?
So we don't think about money as something to have a relationship with, but it's really having or not having money is one of the main areas of our life that determines the quality of our lives, right? So it's important to think about how we think and feel about money. And I really want to mention where I got this from. So it was from Ken Honda, who's like finance guru or money teacher from Japan, and he was working with millionaires for years and years. And he figured out that there were millionaires who were like really happy and millionaires who were always unhappy and going for the next thing that would then make them happier. So he created this idea of money IQ, which is managing money, investing and all that, and money IQ, which is your, like we said, your relationship, your emotional attachment to money. And it comes with a lot of unconscious limiting or non-limiting beliefs. So
Right.
how your mind is programmed around the topic of money
Mm.
determines your relationship, and that's your level of happiness.
Mm. Oh, I love that framing. And I love that distinction between money IQ and money EQ. Wow. So tell me more about like what kind of skills or behaviors, thoughts, beliefs are we talking about when it comes to money IQ and then versus money EQ? Like, so like maybe a few examples of each.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, thanks for tuning into this episode. Hope you're getting value out of it. For your information, this episode has been sponsored by the Happiness 101 program. Are you a change maker, coach, trainer, or healer? Are chains of fear holding you back from making the impact and income you desire? Using a unique combination of positive psychology and the spiritual wisdom of our most effective change makers, the Happiness 101 program helps you break through your limiting beliefs and manifest the abundance and success you desire with fun and ease. Interested? Book a free Happiness 101 exploration call with me, your happiness expert, Samia Bano. Just use my online calendar link in the show notes. Now, back to the show.
Well, the IQ, and we don't even have to call it like this. It's just like our practical money management skills, right? Do we know how to budget? Are we saving? How much we are saving? Are we investing? Do we have multiple bank accounts for specific purposes? And these days, investing in crypto has become very popular. So that is part of the money IQ. Um, and just the day-to-day money management and making your money grow is like the practical stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, I give a lot of information.
No, that's awesome. And it's true. This is like a huge area where a lot of people struggle with, especially a lot of women struggle with, especially I think from like cultures like mine. And right now I'm thinking of like my Indian Pakistani culture. And certainly the way it used to be traditionally, and when I was growing up in India and Pakistan, that was back in the 80s and 90s, and my family was fairly traditional in our lifestyle. And so like I grew up with zero, almost zero learning about money, EQ, no, IQ, money, IQ, money
Like money
management.
management. Let's
Yeah,
call
it
it
was
money
like
management, right?
money was always handled for me. It was always managed for me. And
Mm.
like there was no expectation that I would ever have to or need to do it as a girl, as a woman. It was like my dad
Mm-hmm.
did it. If my dad wasn't, and then, I'd be handed over to my husband, or if I didn't have a husband and my dad wasn't around, I'd have brothers and uncles and, other men in my life who would do all the money
Mm.
management. So like I was never taught or had any expectation to learn that. And so actually when I used to even think about having to manage money, having to earn money. Like if I thought about, oh, what would I do if I had to play the role my dad does in terms of being a money maker in our family, it used to feel so difficult. And like, and I was like, oh, I'm so glad I'm a girl and I don't have to do it because it's just so weird and
Oh,
strange,
wow.
hard, you know?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, knowing how to manage your money and make money and grow your income is very, very empowering, not just for women, but for everyone, because you don't have to. So let's imagine you're one of those, not you, but there's a person listening who's always just spending. And so they find it hard to make ends meet at the end of the month. And they're like, wow, where did all the money go? Which is
Right.
quite common, right?
Yes.
So imagine you have like a really good system, so you never run out of money.
Mm,
And you feel so like strong, like so powerful
yes.
because you have money and you it gives you security,
Right.
whatever it is for you personally.
That's right. And the security part is really important because I know it really impacted me. Because even though I wasn't the person in charge of managing money or, earning money, the sense of security around having enough money was like a huge issue because actually what happened was that we had been living in a smaller town in India, and my dad had his own business. It was going fine until riots broke out,
Ooh.
and like his factory got shut down, like literally shut down for 6 months. He couldn't reopen his factory. And things got so bad, like at a financial level where I honestly don't remember much of this because I was like pretty young. I was younger than 8 years old at that time. Um, but my mom tells us stories of, like she would be like, I'd get one egg and fry it as wide as I could. So then I could cut it
Mm-hmm.
up into 3 pieces to give to
Oh.
me and my brother and my sister. And she had nothing for my dad or herself, and that was
Mm.
if we were lucky to be able to get an egg, so and I remember going to school. This is one memory I do have. I remember going to school and my shoes had holes in them. And my
Mm-hmm.
teacher was like, you have to buy new shoes. And I remember feeling and knowing like that I couldn't buy new shoes. We couldn't afford to get new shoes.
Yeah.
And this was actually a memory that, again, I had forgotten about until like a few years ago. I was at a conference where we were working on money mindset and all of that. And I actually was going through a process, a self hypnosis sort of process where, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I was guided and this memory was brought up into my consciousness. And I didn't even realize, you know, until that moment that, oh, this was actually a real memory. This was something that happened. It was still impacting my
Mm-hmm.
psychology, all those decades later.
It does. That's the
Mhm.
thing. I grew up poor too, you know. There were times when we just had some like bread and like a little bit of something in the
Yeah.
fridge, like jam maybe or a bit of cheese. And so my mother she was a single mother and she would just borrow money from people to put food on the table.
Yeah.
And then she ended up like owing everyone money, and that's another story, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I wanted to say is that you kind of brought this topic up really nicely now. Our beliefs
Mm,
around money, everything really, but our
yeah.
topic is money now, are sort of imprinted into our unconscious mind between the ages of 0 to 6 or 7. And it's like a program. It's like a computer program that actually runs your life. So what we do in money coaching, what I do with my clients is we clean up that mess. We like install a new program that will help you with more empowering beliefs.
Yeah, that is so cool. That is so cool. Because I mean, man, that can be life changing, you know, that truly not can be, it is life changing. Because ultimately, again, if you're talking about happiness as a state of mind,
Mhm.
and if you're currently unhappy or struggling with your happiness, what's going to allow you to be happy or be more in control of your happiness is to change that underlying mindset.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. You understand why you have this, why you're unhappy around the topic of money. You may need someone to help you, like you did that guided meditation, or you just write out your blocks or your beliefs, and you start working on them and creating what we call a new financial identity, because you can't create a happy life with an unhappy mindset, right?
Yes. What are some other money mindsets that people have that are limiting?
Hmm. Well, I'm coaching a lot of entrepreneurs, and I see that, well, first of all, not deserving money. So they find it hard to charge or accept money, or hit a consistent level of income. Another one is I have to work very hard to make money.
That was me.
Yes.
That was me. I was like, it's so hard to make money.
Yeah.
I have to work hard to make money. Making money is a struggle. Like that was so me. That was so me.
Mhm.
Ugh.
And let me guess what changed for you. I don't know. I'm just taking a wild guess here. It's like once you
Yeah.
started doing what makes you happy, money came.
Right. Well,
Mm.
not immediately. Not immediately because um for a long time I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do what makes me happy, what I love to do. But because I had all this uh like these limiting beliefs about how hard
Mhm.
it was to make money. So I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to try to make money doing what I love. I'm just going to do what I love. And so I was like
Ah, okay.
the volunteer of the year, volunteer of that was loved by every organization that I went into to volunteer.
Oh.
Like literally, I won so many awards. Like I literally won awards where Samia is a volunteer of the year, Samia is a
Oh,
volunteer of the
wow.
month.
Oh my.
Yes, because I would make a commitment to a particular cause or particular organization, and then I would show up and I would like really show up and show up all the time, and do like things where literally to the point where the very first job I got, I had been showing up and doing so much work with them. They were like,
Mm.
Samia, why don't you just let us pay you to do all this work? You're doing more work than some of our stuff. And my first reaction, if you can believe it or not, I'm sure you can believe it. My first reaction was like, no, 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 please don't worry about it. You know, I do this because I love to do this. I love to be here.
Yes, and if also like it were serving, when you're serving people, when
Yeah.
you're helping people, you absolutely cannot take money.
Yeah.
Is another big limiting belief.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. So, you know, for a long time, this was like for a good, I would say I graduated from college in about 2007. So between 2007 and 2012, that was me. Just volunteering, volunteering, volunteering.
Mm.
And even when people offered me money, I would like literally refuse to take money.
Oh, wow. So you were actually like what we call blocking the flow of abundance, because you were like just like so adamant about like not taking it. I just want to do what you excluded doing what makes you happy and being paid for it. Like
I didn't exclude doing what made me happy. I was doing what made me happy, but I excluded the money. I
yeah,
excluded
that's
the
what I
money. I
mean.
was
Like
like,
you
yeah,
sort of mutually
yes,
excluded the two possibilities,
yes,
right?
exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. And like for me, the change started to happen in 2012, which is when I started my coaching business, actually, because
Yay.
that's when I started to work with my coach, my very first coach. Um, and we began to do work on money mindset and beliefs and
Mm-hmm.
starting to, like just bust through all these limiting beliefs.
Oh yeah.
And my happiness coach, she was like making money happiness coaching. And, so she was like really my first model of someone who I saw. She was like she is a person who's extremely spiritually grounded. She's so wise. I was just in total awe of her as the amazing person that she was. And
Mm-hmm.
she was doing work that she loved and she was making money doing it. So uh, being under her wing, getting mentored by her, getting coached by her, that is what really shifted me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everything comes in its own time, right? So
Yeah.
it's not like you should be wishing you'd met her before, I think. So I believe in divine timing.
Yeah.
But another one now I think that came up is like being spiritual and having
Uh,
money
oh,
are
mm,
also often being mutually excluded.
yes.
Mm.
Yes. Yeah. It's very much connected to that serving mindset, right? Also, because a lot of times the serving mindset is coming from that place of spirituality.
Mhm. Well, I come across this in coaching in the coaching industry also because I work with a lot of spiritual women.
Uh-huh.
And so what we need to do really is to flip the switch from I cannot take money or I can't sell high ticket, for example, which is like 3 to 5K
Uh-huh.
in dollars. Sometimes charging those high prices actually is like a wake up call for the business owner. It's like, okay, I need to level up. I need to level up my game. This is not a joke anymore. So I have to start serving my clients at the highest level so that I can pay my coach who is also serving at her highest or his highest level.
Yeah.
So what I think is also true is the the more commitment, the more energetic exchange, the more, well, the higher the price is, right? And it totally makes sense if you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you help these women who are spiritual and who have this perspective that, they can't charge high prices? Like what is like a key, like what is something that you might share with them to help them see that from a different perspective? Like what do you shift that belief to? What is a new belief that, yeah, you help them create?
There's a couple of things, but so one block is around selling because we often have very negative experiences around selling and being sold to. So we don't want to be salesy. And so it's easier for some reason to charge $10 instead of 100 or 200 instead of 2000, right? I don't know why. I mean, I know why, but you know what I mean. So it's easier to charge less, even though you deserve more because you have put so much time, energy, and money into what you have created for your clients. Plus, there is your life experience. There's all the wisdom you have gathered. There is your unique personality. there is your beautiful feminine essence. So they're not just paying for information. There is so much that goes into your services as a coach, who I mostly work with. And I'm sure it's true for retail businesses also. They put their heart and soul into this. So why shouldn't you ask for money, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's for sure that aspect of deserving. And there's
Mm-hmm.
also just the practicality of like what you need to keep the business running. And, like I remember one of the big lessons I learned from my happiness coach, the first one, who was my model for, having that healthier relationship with money. So she charged about 200, like first of all, she didn't do a lot of work where she charged by the hour. But when she did charge by the hour, like she basically charged $250 an hour. And she said
Mm-hmm.
that was not, and she helped me understand sort of like she was like, this is not just a random figure that I've come up with. That
Mm-hmm.
you have to look at, what are all the different expenses that you have. Because she, it was like, if you're going to do this work professionally, you have certain things that you need, let's say a website that's of a certain quality.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have an office set up that's of a certain quality. If you're going to see like patients in person or clients in person, because at that time everything was
Mm-hmm.
pretty much being mostly done in person. This is back
Mm-hmm.
in 2012. So, you have to pay the rent and, this and that. And so start to think about, okay, you have all of these fixed expenses. And so
Yeah.
how many clients do you have to serve at what price point for you to be able to keep going with your business, you
This
know?
is the money IQ you're giving me now.
Right.
And it's really, it's a great example because it's like
Yeah.
the practical aspect
Right.
of like
Yes.
running a business. You have
Right.
overheads and you
Yes.
want to make profit.
Exactly. But when she helped break things down for me in this way from the money IQ perspective, it helped me see that it was not an issue of it was not just an issue of what do I deserve? What do I think I'm
Mm-hmm.
worth? There is a very practical aspect of it
Yes.
that you have to take into account. And so it's like, if you're charging, she was like, if you're going to do like use my business model of how I'm doing things and you charge anything less than 250 an hour, you are not going to be able to sustain sustain the
Basically.
business, literally,
Yeah.
you know? So
Yeah. We have a lot of, and also like these days, okay, you don't pay for petrol most of the time, but there's a lot of maintenance in the behind the scenes.
yeah.
And there's also, well, most business coaches or most coaches pay mentors also.
Yes.
So there's a whole network of VAs,
Yes.
there's a whole network of people behind
Yeah.
me offering you
Yeah.
something,
That's right.
right?
That's right. As exactly. Like just recently, um, last year I launched a new project and I was like, okay, well, what are the costs involved? And you know, my old self would not have taken into account all the time that I put in and all the time that my VA had to put in and all the time that other team members had to put in, would not have taken that into account. But now I know better. So when we
Yeah.
price things and we think about, like, how many clients do we need to reach out to and serve to break even and all that, we take that into consideration when we decide on the price point at which we're going to be able to offer our service.
Yeah, that totally makes sense, right? So sometimes there's quite a good deal of practicality involved also. But things get a little bit trickier when the prices go like really high, right? So there's other factors coming in later on.
Yes, yes, for sure. Can you share one of those factors when the prices go beyond what is just practically needed?
So have you, I don't know if you notice in the coaching industry these days, it's fashionable to make 10K months. Okay.
Yes.
So yes, 10K in 3 months, which is possible, by the way, or 10, I don't know, whatever number in whatever amount of time. So usually to get that result, you pay your coach, your mentor between like 3 and 5. Because there is a very high level of commitment involved from you and from the coach. But it's sort of like if I paid you, let's say you promised me 10K in 3 months and you have a great strategy and mentoring system and resources and community and all that amazingness, and then you charged me like 500, I would be like, what? So I wouldn't give you the respect you deserve. I wouldn't give you the dedication that it takes. And I just wouldn't frankly get the results because the stakes are not high enough.
That is interesting. That is very interesting. Yeah. Cool. So, my gosh, you just brought up some really awesome points. And unfortunately we are sort of running out
Out
of
of
time
time
for
here.
today. I know. So I'm like, uh, oh man, I can't ask you a very deep question. Uh,
You
but
can, you
but
can.
let's uh okay, so from here, where do we go next? Like any last thoughts, any last bits of wisdom that you'd like to share with us for right now in terms of, okay, so if just heard you say this and they're like, oh my gosh, a light bulb just went off in their mind, what is the next step that they can take to move on from here?
You mean to improve their money mindset?
Yeah. Yeah.
Start looking for patterns.
Mm,
Do you always find yourself in the same situation, saying the same things,
yeah.
like running out of money before the end of the month, like getting a whole lot of money and then losing it, like I don't know, complaining about money? Just look at your behavior, and it will give you big clues of what needs to change for you to be happier around this topic. And
Yeah.
then going back to happiness again, right?
Yeah.
Money is not everything, and we are not making money for money's sake. It's a result of something bigger that we are doing in our life and with our lives.
Yes.
If we allow it, if we allow it to come to us.
Yes. That is wonderful. So like a wonderful point at which for us to leave people thinking. It's like, what are you doing to block money coming into your life? And what can you do to allow more money to come into your life? So like Barbara said, look for those patterns. And the truth is that when you begin to think and you try to look for those patterns, you might find yourself struggling. You're like, what patterns? What am I doing? I'm not blocking money from my life. I want money from my life. So you might struggle to actually identify these blocks, these patterns, and that's where Barbara can help you. So
Yay! I'll be very
please,
happy.
please check our show notes because we are going to be adding Barbara's links in there so you can connect with her and reach out for help and support. And I will also throw my links in there if you would like to get in touch with me. Um, and yeah, so until we connect next time, I just want to thank you again, Barbara, for being with us today, sharing so much amazing wisdom and experience with us. And I just want to thank all of you, our dear listeners, for joining us. And I just wish you lots and lots of peace and joy until we connect next time.